Hello, real estate investors. This is John with Real Property Management. I was just handed this new letter from the National Multifamily Council, Housing Council, their survey on operational impact of rental application fraud. This was January 9th, 2024, so just a couple of weeks ago this was released. And what I wanted to start with was just give you some statistics here, so the findings that they had that when they surveyed the property managers and those in the housing space on what they found. Question number one, have you experienced fraud in the past 12 months? Now keep in mind, these are professional property managers that are answering this question. So you as a do-it-yourself property manager, where you're doing your own investigations of tenants, this does not apply to that. This is just those people that do this for a living. So number one, have you experienced fraud in the past 12 months? 93.3% said yes. That's a staggering figure. Please select which types of fraud you experienced. Number one, falsifying or fabricating pay stubs, employment references, or other income documentation, 84.3%. Identity theft, fraudulent ID documents, or use of other individuals' personal information, 70%. Misrepresenting information on applications, 80%. Use of fraudulent checks or other payment methods, 62.9%. Unauthorized cohabitants, illegal subletting, or other actions to evade application or the leasing process, 67.1%. The amount of fraud is just staggering. We see that a lot in the applications that we bring in, and I'll get to that in a minute, and we have ways of dealing with it. But have you experienced an increase in fraudulent applications and payments in the last 12 months? 79.1%. That's very consistent with what we see as a company, is the amount of fraud that has entered into the rental market in the last 12 to 24 months is just uncanny. I think a lot of it has to do with the economic plight that people have, the fact that those with good credit, with good backgrounds are able to purchase houses, and those that have bad backgrounds or bad credit or bad income situations, they can't get qualified to buy a house, and so they're in the rental market. And today, for a couple $100, you can buy a complete identity on the web page. On the internet. For a couple $100, you get an ID, you get a credit report, you can get a tax return, you can get bank statements, you can get a utility bill, you can get a selfie to match your ID. You can get the entire package of an identity to rent a property, and the quality of that is so significant that in the untrained eye, even in a trained eye, you can't pick up most of that. Have you experienced an increase in fraudulent activity in the last 12 months? 79.1%. We just talked about that. Approximately how much of your fraudulent applications increased in your portfolio in the past 12 months compared to the prior? So how much has the fraudulent activity increased year over year? 40%. And the last one on here, there's a few others, but the last one I'm going to talk about is, have you experienced an increase in non-payment of rent due to fraud in the past 12 months? 72.7%. This report is telling of what's going on in the market right now. And it's hard to believe that there's that much fraud in the rental market, but it's because a lot of people can't get qualified to buy a house, and they can't get qualified to rent, but they have to live somewhere. And so they're buying these frauds. Now, our company uses some forensic technology that assists in detecting this fraud before it ever comes through. Fortunately, we've had no losses related to fraud in the history of our company. But I can't say that for either somebody that's doing this on their own or other companies. We use a technology that uses three-dimensional facial recognition to compare the selfies with the ID It requires multiple headshots in order to tie it out to the ID. We take the encrypted data on the back of the ID and tie it out to the information that's on the credit files. We have systems that will go through and review all of the elements of the credit and do third-party validations and checks to this. We do an eyeball witness on each of the elements before we approve it. So the level of fraud detection that we use, this combination of technological intelligence and human intelligence, has prevented us from ever having a loss due to fraud. But this is something to be very concerned about, something that's going to become more and more prevalent. And with the release of this data, it's just staggering, but it's confirming what we're already seeing in the market. So be careful out there. Let us know if we can help. Thank you.